Hello, my name is Bart and I am a weak Aura/add-on developer for Liquid Guild. And in this video, I'll give you a hopefully quick overview of the new timeline reminders features. So just to give a brief introduction, timeline reminders, as you can see on the screen here, is an add-on that displays encounters on a timeline and lets you set reminders for yourself that then show up during the fight. This is useful when you want to plan out your cooldowns or defensives, or just to remind you to be in position for certain mechanics, etc. The add-on supports both retail and classic, and if you would like to stay up to date with its development, there is a link to my Discord server in the video description. The new features that I'll show you in a moment are all aimed towards letting you make reminders easier and faster. First off, we have a new feature called templates. Now, before I show you what templates do, I'll first make a reminder the old way. So let's quickly make a new profile for this boss, and we'll call it video profile since I'm recording a video right now. Give it a nice blue color and create. So here we have an empty timeline for sticks, and let's just put in a reminder somewhere. So let's say I'd like to have a reminder here. I'll just double click the timeline and I can configure it as I please. So let's say I'd like to have a reminder to cast Aura Mastery. So I'll go to this dropdown, select Spell, Paladin, Holy, and then select Aura Mastery here. And I like my Aura Mastery reminders to be colored yellow. And I want it to show for around 5 seconds. Maybe it'll have a 3-second countdown attached to it. And at the end of that countdown, it'll say AM, short for Aura Mastery. And this is how I like my Aura Mastery reminder to be. So I press OK, and now you can see the Aura Mastery reminder that I just set for myself shows up on the timeline, and it'll show up during the fight at 44 seconds in. Now imagine that at 4:15 into the fight, I would want to cast Aura Mastery again. I would have to double click the timeline and set up the entire reminder from scratch. And this obviously takes a lot of work, especially if you want to configure your reminders across multiple fights and across multiple profiles. And this is exactly where templates come in. So let's make a new reminder. Again, we'll make it over here. And there is now a new button in the top right called templates. And if we click that, we see a bunch of reminders show up. And these are reminders that I made and saved as a template using this button, and I can now load them back in by just clicking them. So let's say I want to make a reminder for Guardian of Ancient Kings. I'll just click this Guardian of Ancient Kings reminder that I made earlier, and boom, there it is. It's loaded in, and I can just press OK, and there it is. Maybe I'd like to use Guardian of Ancient Kings another time early in the fight over here. I'll just open it up. Click Guardian of Ancient Kings, press OK, and there we go. So just to illustrate how to make a new template, let's create one for, let's do Blessing of Sacrifice. So I don't have a Blessing of Sacrifice reminder in this list yet. The only 3 Paladin reminders I have are Divine Shield, Bob, and Guardian of Ancient Kings. So let's make a new one. So we'll select Blessing of Sacrifice from this drop-down right here. It's here. And I like my Blessing of Sacrifice reminders to be colored reddish. I'd like them to show for, 6 seconds in advance seems good. And I'll let them linger for 2 seconds. Now what linger does is when this 6 seconds runs out, if I haven't pressed the ability yet, it'll keep showing it for 2 more seconds. And I'll add a countdown to it. 3-second countdown seems good. And whoever I am supposed to sack, I'll glow their frame, and I like to use proc glow. This one's pretty. And I'll just make it red, similar to the color of the text. And maybe, when the reminder runs out, it'll tell me to sack. This seems pretty good. So I can now just press add template. And you can see the Blessing of Sacrifice reminder that I just made shows up here. So anytime I want to use Blessing of Sacrifice, maybe I'll use Blessing of Sacrifice on, Vexy somewhere. I'll just double click here, click Blessing of Sacrifice, press OK, and there we go. I now have my Blessing of Sacrifice reminder easily accessible exactly the way I want it to look. Now, to add to this, reminders that you set through MRT Note will now look for a template, and if there is a template available that matches the spell, we'll use the settings of that template. So let's say I have a reminder in MRT Note for Power Word Barrier. It'll now use exactly the settings that you can see here. And same for, Symbol of Hope, Leap of Faith, anything that is in this list. If there's an MRT reminder for that spell, it'll use the settings that you have that are like associated with the template of that spell ID. For the next two new features, we have dragging reminders and duplicating reminders. So let's say you put a reminder on your timeline, but you're not quite happy with where you placed it. So before, what you had to do was click the reminder and change the time at which it shows up. But now you can just hold your mouse over it and drag it to the left or the right. So you can just drag it anywhere, release, and it's now right there. Now, if you hold Alt and then drag the reminder, you actually duplicate it. So I'm holding Alt right now and I'm dragging this reminder, and there we go, it just duplicated it. And as a bonus feature, this has been in for a while, you can middle mouse click reminders to quick delete them. So I'm just deleting all of the reminders here. And let's say, just to showcase what you'd use this for, let's say I am a rogue and I want to use Feint on every single incinerator cast on Styx. So I'll open up the templates, I'll load in my Feint template, and then I'll just Alt drag it to every single incinerator in this fight. And this way you can very easily populate your timeline with reminders that you'd like to use. For the final new feature that I'd like to show you, we have encounter options. So these let you change what the timeline looks like based on the strategy that you're doing. So Mugsy is a good example for this, since the go-to strat used to be playing 5 sides in phase 1. So you see 5 sides on this timeline here. But now many guilds are only playing 4 or even 3 sides before they transition into the intermission. Now, of course, you would ideally like your timeline to show the number of sides that you actually play. And you can now do this by going to your profile's options and changing the encounter settings for that profile. So let's make a new profile. We are currently viewing my progress strat profile, which has the 5 sides, because that is what we used to do on progress. Let's just make a new profile and we'll call this fast strat. I'll make it red because, red is the color of going fast. And we start on the Z side, that's the side with a goblin guided rocket, but we're only playing 3 sides. So we create this new profile and there we go. When viewing this profile, you only see 3 sides on your timeline, and the whole fight as a result is much shorter. And it's important to note that these options are specific to each profile. So if I would swap back to my progress strat profile, we now have 5 sides. You can also edit these options for existing profiles by just using this drop down and going to this settings icon. Right now, this feature is supported for Mugsy and for One-Armed Bandit. So for One-Armed Bandit, you can choose the number of spin to wins that you play in P1. So in the future, I'm sure this will be useful for many other bosses. Just for now, it's only these 2. And that's it for the new features. Again, the add-on is constantly being updated, so if you would like to stay up to date, there is a link to my Discord server in the video description. Thanks for watching.